G'day, Ziggy D here, and welcome to day 1 of my Righteous Fire in a Week project. I'm currently level 32, and in this video I want to go over a guide that's going to be appropriate for pretty much any character. It's how to have the most easy and quickest leveling process on any new character. Literally any character can do this. My entire build pretty much consists of me getting life. Eventually I get some burn damage, so at higher levels things will scale a little bit better, but for the most part I'm just getting life on this build. That's the entire build. I'm playing a Righteous Fire Marauder after all. So this can literally work for any character, and it's super effective and most importantly super cheap. You can play things like Spectral Throw, which may be faster, but they require you buy a new unique two-handed weapon every 10 or so levels, and that can get pretty expensive, you know? Even if they only cost 1 chaos each, that's something like 10 chaos you need to spend overall for a fast leveling process. You can do this with about 1 alteration. I would say that's the entirety of the cost of this, and that's only slightly exaggerating. So, first skills are Ice Nova and Fire Trap. Now you can get these from level 1, and you can use them straight away from level 1, no matter which character you're on. And the way that you can get them is simply for Ice Nova, you can create a Templar, run them through, and it's one of the first skills you get after killing Hillock. And same deal for Fire Trap, but though this time with the Shadow. So you can simply mule each of these characters, so you can actually self-find both of these skills. The way you use Ice Nova is essentially you can just cast Ice Nova freely while you're doing other things. And then let's say you're running along, you know, you're using your Ice Nova. Usually you'll throw down your Fire Trap first, so I'll go ahead and equip my Fire Trap as well. So you'll throw down your Fire Trap, you use your Ice Nova, your Fire Trap goes off, and you Ice Nova down the mobs. Now the really good thing about Ice Nova is you can actually, let's say you just picked up some gear that you have to equip, you're currently killing a pack of skeletons on ledge, you simply open up your inventory, and you can move gear around, you can switch your gear around if you want, you can pretty much do anything you want while you're actually attacking. There is literally zero downtime with this. The Fire Traps keep burning, the Ice Nova keeps attacking, and this is why it's a fantastic skill to use. It doesn't require aim, you can use it while you're actually doing stuff in your inventory, and this is a tactic that people use in races quite a bit, and this is where I actually learned to use this. That's why Ice Nova is a fantastic skill for lower levels. Around level 10 you start using Flameblast, that becomes available then, and depending on your character you may or may not get Flameblast, otherwise you should be able to buy one pretty easily for an alch from another player, or even just a few alterations. It's not a high level skill. It's available at level 10. You could even mule one if you wanted to yourself. But basically then at that point you'll throw your Fire Trap down, or you'll just charge up a Flameblast and take a moment to sort of charge that Flameblast up. It's pretty slow, but you will one-shot mobs if you're playing solo with like 3 or 4 stacks of Flameblast most of the time, and if you're playing in a party you can fully charge it and still one-shot mobs in a 6-man group. It works really nicely. And then if they've survived the Flame Blast, you can throw a trap to finish them and simply kite the mobs through the burning damage of the trap, kite them to the next pack, and keep it going. Keep moving, keep going really fast. I usually drop off Fire Trap around this point. You can keep using Fire Trap around this point, but usually around level 24 I'll drop off Fire Trap, which is good because at that point the dex scaling gets a little bit higher as well. And then I'll start using Searing Bomb. Searing Bomb becomes available at 24 and it does extremely good damage for leveling. Just at the moment, unlinked to anything, it deals 377 fire damage per second. You can see the average damage of a tick of Flame Blast is 102. So it's actually really good DPS. So what I'll do is I'll throw down my Searing Bond on a pack of mobs, I'll charge up a Flame Blast, use that, and then I can simply, as I'm running along, Searing Bond will kill anything. And you can also use Searing Bond to kill targets that are single target as well. Now, it's not just these skills. Like, these skills are very powerful by themselves, but it's what you actually socket them into that makes them really ridiculously powerful. Now, you don't need to do this for Ice Nova, and even Fire Trap you probably don't really need to do it for so much. But once you get to around level 11, I believe, is when you get access to resistance rings. You can actually get them a little bit lower level than that, but you want to start doing this around a level 11. And here's what you're going to need. You're going to need an Orb Transmutation, any red skill gem, an Iron Ring, simply an Iron Ring, a Sceptre. I think a Sceptre is best because it has increased elemental damage as the implicit. You can do it on a Wand or a Dagger, but I think Sceptres are the best. Try and get ones that with this, with the sockets and the colors you need, so keep an eye out for those. You can check the vendors, or you can just keep an eye on ones that drop, and you'll need an Alteration and Augmentation. Now here's what we do. We simply sell the Iron Ring with the red skill gem for a Ruby Ring. We take the Ruby Ring, we then use a Transmute on the Sceptre to turn it into a blue Sceptre. Coincidentally, that's actually a very nice attack damage Sceptre there for this level, but that's not what we're going to be using it for. We're going to be using it anyway. And then we simply trade the Sceptre with the Ruby Ring and with the Alteration Ring, and we get +1 to level of fire gems in this item. So then you can take this one just there, chuck an Augmentation on it, we got Cast Speed. That's a hella good weapon right there. Now, unfortunately, this is a lower implicit. I currently already have one with 20% increased elemental damage and 3 sockets, but this one's only got 2 sockets. But simply all you do is we take Flameblast, we take Searing Bond, we put it in that item. Each one of these gets 1 higher level. Flameblast and Searing Bond, whenever they're 1 level over the mobs that you're fighting, essentially, because as you're leveling, they'll be keeping up with your level. Having them be 1 level higher means that you will one-shot stuff, you'll kill stuff really ridiculously quickly. And this is that's all the gear you need to like do ridiculous damage with these skills. And hopefully the footage I have just playing in the background as well sort of shows that even in a 6-man group, this sort of stuff does really good damage as well. But I may also be able to show you guys some solo as well, because it really shines in solo. You can really see how much damage it deals. And it's just so cheap. I think this is probably the way that you should really level any character if you want to go for maximum cheapness and speed. And this means that, you know, let's say you earn about 10 chaos over the leveling process, you can put that towards your endgame gear instead of spending currency rolling that other gear. So, on a similar note, how do we sort of gear our character as cheaply as possible? You'll notice all this stuff here is pretty average. The belt's alright, but for the most part, all this stuff is just found from vendors or you know, or picked up off the ground. All this stuff is super cheap. None of this costs me any currency. However, I'm using the Arumvarax. Now, at this point, here at the end of normal, I have overcapped resist by a ridiculous amount. Arumvarax has 55 plus all elemental resistance on it. For considering you don't need to have any other weapon, you're not attacking with this build, you're using spells which scale off their gem level and off of your scepter. You simply have 1 scepter in one hand with your skill gems in it that you want to have plus leveled, and then you have your Arumvarax in the other hand, essentially acting as a shield, and it gives you a ridiculous amount of resist. Now, this costs about 1 alch or 1 chaos. That's pretty much always what it's going to cost. Even in new leagues, it might cost as much as 2 chaos very early on, but it's always very cheap. Arumvarax is a very common item. Now, essentially, this means by using this one single item, you don't need to get very good other gear. You can really just go with whatever you find. So instead of spending like an alch, you know, alching some rings and amulets to keep you, you know, get you the resist you're trying to go, or spending a bunch of alterations crafting gear for life and resist, you can just hold the Arumvarax and get all of those resists. Then you can just get some gear with life on it, and that's it, which is super cheap. So this is a really cheap way to gear a character and to level with these spell gems, and so far through normal it's been working very well. It's also my plan pretty much to continue with this strategy all the way up into the high 60s until I can switch over to Righteous Fire, and hopefully you guys find that useful as well. Just another little piece of info there if you guys want to consider what support gems to do. As soon as they become available, Chance to Ignite and Elemental Proliferation are fantastic on Flameblast. As an alternative, you can go AoE, and I think at a level 30 or something you can start using faster casting. Those are also good options. And for Searing Bond, the only thing you need is increased burning damage. You can literally do Searing Bond into 2-link, and that's what I've been doing. I simply have Searing Bond in here with increased burning damage, and I have my 3-socket Sceptre there that I crafted using that vendor recipe, and I simply have Chance to Ignite and Elemental Proliferation, and it's a very effective leveling setup. So anyway, hopefully you guys found this helpful. I'll be continuing this Righteous Fire character and be giving you new guides related to the leveling and progression and build itself over the course of this week. So that's it for now. I'm Ziggy D, and thanks for watching.